Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I quickly want to share some thoughts with you guys, and questions that I have in my mind are why do we regret after sinning? Okay, and then the second question is, what is this sin regret loop? We often find ourselves trapped in this loop. So what is that loop? And the third question is, how do we come out of this loop? Okay, so what are the options that are available to us, or what are the approaches that people take to come out of this loop? And then the fourth one is that if we can successfully come out of this permanent regret loop, what benefits do we get? Okay, so let's start with this first question, that why do we regret, and what is this sin regret loop? So my understanding is that we human beings, we often encounter those moments, and we call those moments as regret moments. And sometimes, we are trapped in those moments. Okay, so they stay like permanently. So we sin and then regret, sin and regret. So we are into this loop. Okay, so my understanding about this regret and the loop is that we human beings have something in us. Okay, let's call it a meter. Okay, so just like you have thermometer for measuring temperature or barometer for measuring pressure, so we have something in us, and that is a meter. And then we have some kind of standards that are set within us, deep in our consciousness. Some kind of standards are set for us. And then when we do some action, and that action does not meet the expectations or those standards, that's when the regret meter, it is triggered. Okay, and we start feeling regret about it. Okay, so in a way, it's an internal process that helps us, that keeps us in check. That you are in this path, and then you deviated slightly on that moment. Okay, so it's like an internal mechanism to keep us in check. So it's a very good thing. It's a real blessing that we have it in us. But sometimes, what happens, that we tend to ignore these callings. That the regret moments, we tend to ignore them. And then eventually what happens is that these regret moments, they start occurring too often, too frequent, and we start living in a permanent regret state. Okay, that's when it becomes very dangerous, and that's when it can seriously hamper our progress on this path. So this life is a journey, we are on a path, and it can seriously affect our journey. And not just like spiritually, rather the day-to-day stuff, because we keep thinking about about these things, and then it really affects our day-to-day life. So yeah, so that is what is regret, how it works, and what is sin regret loop. So the next question that I had is, what are the options that are available to us, and what human beings, the options that human beings take to come out of this state. So in my opinion, there are three options, three kind of people that we see around us. So two are like major, and the third one is kind of ideal. So the first one is that there are human beings among us who have permanently muted those meter callings. Okay, so those internal callings, those regret moments, they have completely muted them. So yeah, so that's how it works. They don't hear anything from inside, and they have their own regret moments, but they are not, they've set their own standards, not based on the religion. And then the second option that the people take, and is that they are in this permanent regret loop. But what they do is, the way they cope with this situation is that they ignore those callings. So they do get those readings, the internal readings, but they tend to ignore them. Okay, and then they live in this permanent state. But yeah, so they keep ignoring it, and that's how they live their life. Okay, just a regret moment, and then just ignore it and move on, and then next regret moment, move on, and that's how you live your life. Okay, so these people, what I have seen is that mostly they will be confused, so, and they will be, certain, uncertain, they will live in on that boundary, between certainty and uncertainty. So they'll live on that. And so not a very ideal state to be in, so you want to be either on that side or on this side. The third one, which is like an ideal approach, and what I think people should take, and I should take, and we all should take that approach. And in that approach, the ideal situation is that a person will not accept these regret moments permanently. Okay, so he or she will try his best to come out of those regret moments. So that's what his main aim will be. Okay, so he wants to make sure that he or she lives according to those standards that are set within us, and then so that they don't have to encounter any more those regret moments. So yeah, so these are three options, an ideal one, and then two which we encounter those. So we want to achieve that ideal state. Okay, no more regret moments. We want to live like happily and freely. So what are the advantages that we get if we can break free from this sin-regret loop? So I want to give you an example. That example involves very basic physics, from our own experience. So if there are two vehicles, okay, and they are on a highway and they are like going parallel to one another, and they are at constant speed, okay, so their speeds don't vary, so they are like parallel and going on in a straight line. And so if the drivers, they look at each other, what are they going to see? They will see that there is another person driving next to him, and he's like on the, but that the person, those two drivers will see each other like not moving at all. Okay, and it's a common experience. The passenger sitting next to us, we feel like we are not moving, like we are like sitting there. Okay, but the fact is we are moving. So when a person can successfully break free from this state, okay, from this permanent regret state, so that's when the these internal and external conflicts that are events that take place within us and outside us, so they will not affect the progress of that person. Okay, so these internal and external conflicts are those, they block us, they stop us from progressing on this path. But when we can break free from this sin-regret loop, that's when nothing can hamper our progress. Okay, so we will be on this path, and so we will be in this sukoon state, so it will appear to us and to those who will be with us on this journey that we are like normally moving, we are in a sukoon state. So sukoon state will be the one that nothing can influence a guy's progress. Okay, so we'll be in a sukoon state, a permanent sukoon state, and we'll keep progressing. And then there is no limits to the progress that we can make. Okay, then the next step will be that we want to kind of increase our pace, increase our speed, and we want to travel with the speed of light. Okay, that's the first goal that inshallah we all will set, that we want to travel with the speed of light, and we want to see what lies beyond the reach of light. Okay, because when something starts traveling with speed of light, then things change. Okay, and we don't understand really what happens after something travels with speed of light. So we want to see actually that what lies beyond the reach of light. Okay, so this is possible if we can break free from this sin-regret loop.